All right. Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I have a little bit of an issue. Little bit of an issue with everyone coming at pro wrestling. All right. Everyone's coming at pro wrestling today, and it's through the NFL. All right. Now, so I wake up this morning and I see that a little tweet went off from Mr. Will Compton talking about how he believes that the NFL is scripted. And he mentioned in his tweet, I'm going to bring it up here, is he says the NFL is basically the WWE now. It's all scripted. It's fixed. They pick who they want to win. It's all for entertainment. And honestly, I don't even know why I watch and why I care so much. It's all fake. Now, whether or not Will was being serious or not, I do think that there are certain things that do make sense to what he is saying. We can't just totally say that the NFL is not scripted to an extent. There's super higher powers dealing with the NFL at all times. Roger Goodell, a lot of, similarities to, old Vince over in the WWE, right? Ruthless people. Okay? So, but here's the thing, and I'm kind of gonna walk through this whole thing, and what really got my gears going is that everyone came at pro wrestling acting as if it's like this garbage trash entertainment. It's a global entity. How many times do I have to beat it over the head with the facts that the WWE and pro wrestling is a global footprint? So we need to just stop pretending that the WWE isn't just as big, if not bigger, than the NFL. Okay, that's why WWE can go to Saudi Arabia and sell out arenas, stadiums like that, just like that. But I want to get back to the attention at hand. So everyone comes at Will being like, it's not scripted. You're just bitter. You're just angry. Okay, you're just angry. You're upset. All right. Salty Fishman. I don't even know what the hell you're saying there. But anyway, we're gonna get back to clarify what you're trying to say. So what we're doing here is we're going to break down the NFL season just a little bit, all right? I'm not going to go too long here, but let's break it down just a little bit, okay? Now, so here we go. So the NFL starts off, right, the season, right? And I don't think that the NFL goes into a season not hoping for some type of storyline to develop and something that they're going to run with. But what happened this year is that everything got totally screwed up because every single major player, Burrow, everyone just went down. There was catastrophic injuries at the quarterback position. So just like the WWE, and this is why I do believe it is scripted to a degree, is that, listen, you got to course correct. You got to go where the money is. You got to go where it's going to get people to continue to watch. This is why they flex certain games out of certain slots, and they put certain slots for better games, right? It's all to get money. It's all to get viewership. That's what it's all about. But let's just look at this actual season of what happened, okay? So they probably had a different script going into the year, right? But then what happens? Out of the blue, Travis Kelce just decides to start dating the biggest pop star in the entire world, right? And it just falls right into the laps of the NFL. Kind of like if The Rock were to come back, what would you do, right? What would you do? I don't know. Oh, Salty Fisherman. I see what you're trying to say. You're talking about the actual game there. All right. Let's not confuse me. Okay. Let me just stay on track here. So, right? So the NFL, right? They clearly have this storyline that they want to go with, but Taylor Swift falls into their laps. Okay. I mean, first of all, what are we talking about here? It is like exactly what they needed to distract the fact that the product on the field was horrendous this year. It stunk. It absolutely stunk. And same thing that you would do in pro wrestling is you would bring in the big guns. It's like, oh, when shit hits the fan, what do? You go back to your big players, you go back to your stars, your Goldbergs, your people that the general population knows so that you'll get viewership. All right. So I don't think that's crazy to believe that there's a lot of similarities between the NFL and the WWE. But let's look at this year, just in terms of pro wrestling storylines. So you're trying to tell me that in a year where we're just throwing backups every single game, right? There's literally every single game that there just so happens to be an Italian from New Jersey whose name is Tommy DeVito, who just so happens to play for the New York Giants. You're just trying to tell me that it's by coincidence that this guy just fell into the laps of the New York Giants in the NFL? That despite the fact that he couldn't throw a pass over 20 yards and complete it, and they made storyline after storyline out of this for weeks to go, that this doesn't have a little bit of similarities to pro wrestling? Right? That when you have someone that captures the hearts of the audience, that you just want to kind of roll with it and go with it, sell that merchandise, right? Tons of merch sold for old Tommy, right? You want all the talk shows, doing all the media, right? Getting the good word out of there of the NFL, a great story. Let's build production around it. You got that happening. And that's just a big time coincidence in a down year. Listen, I'm not all into conspiracy theories, but what I'm saying is that what Will said about how it is the WWE, everyone just goes crazy and starts shitting on him. First of all, he's probably a little bit, I don't know, sarcastic, maybe it's a little bit of a joke for all you morons out there. But still, there's still a point to be had. Now, if we're actually looking at the WWE and the NFL, what does the WWE always do around WrestleMania? Celebrity involvement. And sure, the Super Bowl has had it for years to come, but this year was a little bit different, right? This is like having Taylor Swift be the special guest referee, okay, at WrestleMania. Like, she's not in the actual match per se, but she's literally part of the match, okay? So that's what we're saying in there. Then we have like your Brock Purdy on the other end of this matchup between the Chiefs and the 49ers. Brock Purdy, very Daniel Bryan-esque, if you may say, right? A guy that was Mr. Relevant that no one paid attention to whatsoever last year. And all of a sudden there's this massive movement because everyone just says he's a game manager, right? So everyone's taking his back. Everyone's taking his back and making sure that he's seen in the same light as the other people, the other stars of the business. And what does he go on to do? He goes on to WrestleMania, or in this case, the Super Bowl, right? And he starts taking everyone by storm. And he's a great guy. And they're doing the documentaries with him, and they're doing the interviews with them. This is all pro wrestling. So what Will's saying, there is a little bit of weight to it. I just don't understand how you can't. Then you got George Kittle. You got George Kittle in the game. Huge wrestling fan. Yeah. So we're just going to have a Super Bowl with arguably the biggest pro wrestling fan in all of the NFL, who just so happens to be the star tight end that looks like a professional wrestler. I mean, I don't know how much more I got to go into this. I mean, the proof is all there. This 100% was part of the NFL script to an extent. All right. Then if you look at the actual game, now fixing a game, now that is something that is, that's very, very sensitive topic there. I'm not saying there's any games fixed, but what I'm trying to say is that I don't know. So you have Moody, you got the kicker, right? What are they talking about? How he didn't miss one PAT the entire year, and he just so happens to miss probably like the difference in the entire game to an extent that changed the complexion of the game, right? So he just misses it out of the blue. I don't know. It seems like a bit of a swerve to me, something that would happen in professional wrestling. At least that's what I'm thinking. Then you look at this. Let's see, whatever. We had overtime. Overtime? I mean, how much more? How much more? It reminds me a little bit of WrestleMania 12. WrestleMania 12, you got the Iron Man match, right? The boyhood dream, right? The boyhood dream, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, the proverbial champion, right? What did they do? They went into overtime, right? This match must continue, as the great Howard Finkel said on that day, right? It must continue, just like this game must continue. Did you know that was just at the end of the first quarter when they ended up ending the game? Because I didn't, but I found out. It's almost as like it was an Iron Man match to a degree. A lot of similarities between the NFL and professional wrestling. Also, here's another thing. Big part of big controversy, right? Going on. Any chance DMD goes to WWE? We're talking. I will get to actual. If you want actual, we'll talk pro wrestling a little bit right after this. How's that? Is that Dirtbag? Dirtbag, does that work for you, Dirtbag? Right after this, okay? So I'm gonna get through this right here, and then we'll just start slowing and we'll start talking about a little bit of pro wrestling if we want. This is the other thing that kind of gets me going. The 49ers take the ball first in overtime. Shanahan's supposed to be this genius that knows everything inside and out, right? Everything. He knows everything. Why are you taking the ball first? It's almost as if maybe the higher powers wanted Mahomes with the ball last. I don't know. I'm just an idiot, in the closet underneath the stairs, talking about pro wrestling and how it relates back to the NFL. But there's a lot of similarities there. I don't know. But what I'll say is this, is that Will's tweet, if you kind of look at it, he said the NFL is basically the WWE right now. He's not saying, well, actually, he did say it was all scripted and fixed. But I do think that they have an outcome that they want. And to say that there's no one at the NFL that is kind of sort of thinking, hey, is there any way we can get this in our favor, right? Is there any way that we can maybe distract from the game enough to put the emphasis which we want? Because do they really care who wins necessarily? No. What they wanted at the end of the day was Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce kissing with the Lombardi. That's where the money was. And that's what they got. Listen, is it all fake? Is it all real? Who the hell knows, right? But I like to think that to say that it's not scripted, to say that there's not a storyline going on, if the NFL is trying to appease that storyline, you're an idiot. That's the way I'm going to end this portion of this live, is I'm going to say, if you don't think that there's a distinct push for the NFL to try and make this a storyline and see it through so they get the payoff at the end, if you don't think that Roger Goodell is sitting there saying, please let the Chiefs win this game, the only thing that is standing in the way of this 100% being scripted, 100% being fixed, is the fact that Kelce didn't catch the ball and he didn't have the game-winning touchdown. That's the only thing. Was he in the picture? Was he in the final shot, raising his hand, no looking, as if he knew that he caught the ball? Because he was right there. Everything is right in front of us. It's all pro wrestling. Everything in life can relate back to pro wrestling. Literally. Everything comes back to it. So for all the haters in the comments for Will's, plus all the people that commented on mine where I said pro wrestling is real, people are fake. By the way, that's a t-shirt. I am smart, but I'm not that much of a genius. But 4.9 million people at this time interacted with Will's tweet. And here's why. 48,000 likes, 6.3 thousand quote tweets, 6.4 thousand comments, 1,000 bookmarks. 1,000 bookmarks. Insane. The reason why it gets that much interaction is not because of the NFL. No. It's because when you mention pro wrestling, it just moves the needle. It's controversial. People don't think it's cool enough. They want to shit on it. They want to tell you you're not cool because you watch pro wrestling. Those people are dumb marks. Now, let's ask some pro wrestling questions to kind of wrap this up, this little, special edition, because I got some time in my day. I'm off from work for the week, actually. Off from work for the week because we just had a monstrous event in Aspen. So we're back now, but they gave us the week because, by God, they worked us to the bone. Anyway, so here we go. But it's all good. A great experience. So Dirtbag goes, any chance DMD, that's Britt Baker, goes to WWE? I hope so, man. Listen, she's got Adam Cole there. She's in a relationship with Adam Cole. Adam Cole is at the, he's at the top of the food chain there. He is the devil. So naturally, if you're with someone, I'd imagine you'd like to be around them, have the same schedule, allowed to live your life. But I think DMD, and I've said it since day one. You can go back and track me anywhere online. I have been super duper pro Britt Baker. I think she's a stone cold star. She's fantastic on the mic. She has a great look. She actually tells a story with her character of being a dentist, with her finisher and everything in the ring. Great theme music, great presentation, the role model. And listen, and she understands pro wrestling. She gets it. She's athletic, but I'm sure she understands it's not just all about wins and losses, right? Very Chelsea Green-esque, if you will, right? She can kind of do it all, Okay. She's meant for, I think she can absolutely go to WWE. I hope she does because I think she'd be right at the top of that division, right? As a face of the division. She is a fantastic interview. Free Frenchie. She's a fantastic interview. I don't know if you guys saw her on Mostly Sports the other day, but I was watching because my boy Brandon's on that. You know, we have a little bit of history. But and I've been in the room for a Britt Baker interview. She's the most natural person to have an interview with. You are literally just having a conversation. She has that ability. And then while you're having that conversation, she can weave in her character. She can weave in pretty much the storyline that she's working with, and she's keeping kayfabe. You actually really never know if you're being worked. That's the beauty about pro wrestling, just like the NFL. You think you're watching a game, but really you're not. You're watching pro wrestling. What else we got here? A salty fisherman. It's not all fake, but the NFL has the ability to pull strings. Refs, of course they do. Of course they do. That's the whole thing. You can't rig the games. You can't totally rig the games. It's probably not a pre-known outcome. But to say there's not powers that be involved, you're just an idiot. You're just naive or ignorant or whatever it is. You're just not giving like how much of a just force of nature the NFL is enough credit. Like there's some stuff that happens. It just doesn't certain people get suspended. Certain people don't get suspended, right? Certain people get drafted a certain place. Some people don't. You know, who they cover, right? Who don't they cover? Why is Lamar Jackson not given the same, pub that Patrick Mahomes get despite being an MVP, 2 years? I get he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but still, come on. It's a marketing machine, man. What else we got here? Sarah, what'd you say yes to? What'd you say yes to? I don't know what you say yes to. The Romans would love pro wrestling. Like the Roman Reigns or like the actual Romans? We're talking like, what are we talking? What are we talking here? Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else do we got here. Anything else? You're agreeing with me with Lamar. Yeah, I mean, it is though. It is that they can choose to push what they want. It's a machine. Okay. It's the same thing as WWE. WWE for years, unless you have like fan intervention, right? Unless you have fan intervention with like a Daniel Bryan and stuff, they're going to push who they want to push. They're going to put in front of you who they want. That's why you get certain people in primetime games. That's why the Giants, who stink, had a game on Christmas right? I don't even know if Tommy DeVito started them. I can't remember. Who would you like to see them push next year? We talking NFL or we talking professional wrestling? Who are you talking, Salty? Who do we got, Salty Fisherman? Who are you asking? You talking WWE or are you talking the NFL? We'll just pretend you said WWE. Who do I want them to push? Both. Okay. It's interesting. It is interesting. It's very interesting. In the WWE, I feel like LA Knight's my guy. I want them to push, but I feel like they already have pushed him. They can push him more, though. They can absolutely push him more. And he is very deserving as such. Let's see. I think Chad Gable deserves a push. I think his character can get over in the big, on a different level. I like the Alpha Academy, but I think that he has the ability to become a very big star. He's very good on the mic. He's aesthetically pleasing. He can lead a faction. I think Chad Gable is someone that you want to put at the forefront. I think Damian Priest deserves a little bit more of a serious push, right? Like he's with the Judgment Day, but now he's kind of doing the thing with R-Truth right now. Let's see, any new blood. Let's just see. The tag division in total. Like we're talking, Pretty Deadly. I like to see the tag division get more tag teams. We've seen the success that the Usos could have when you take them seriously. Let's see, Dirtbag. We got another question here. Sorry for all the coughing. Still a little sick. I've been sick for about 3 months. I don't know. How far is this Trinity Land with Jordynne Grace TNA collab gonna go? I don't know. I think that Jordynne Grace will eventually be in the WWE. I think that she proved in the Rumble that she can get some people talking. She looks the part. She looks fantastic. She moves super fast. She's friends with all the girls. I think she'd be good for the locker room. And also, she has a certain look about it. She's a little powerhouse. She's feisty. Samoa Joe versus The Rock. They can get there, but Samoa Joe, I think, is pretty much going to end up in AEW for the foreseeable future. After WWE really did that dude bad, man, in my opinion. I think that Joe gave Brock Lesnar the best run for his money in terms of physicality in the ring, and then they just did nothing with it after that. I know he had a few injuries and everything, but they could have utilized him a lot better. I think The Rock is done after he faces Roman. If not after Roman, maybe he does face Cody at some point. But I don't think The Rock needs to do anything as soon as after this. I think after this, his involvement with WWE will be consistent because of the TKO situation. And I definitely look forward to that. Need the return of Santino Marella. Well, I don't think he'll ever be cleared, but to have any time you have an Italian come into any situation, it just makes things better. Everybody knows that. That's pretty much set in stone. Free Frenchie, when do you think the Big E back in the ring? It was awesome seeing him the other day during the press conference. Man, I don't know. The neck is a very interesting thing. Obviously, we've seen people come back from it now with Paige, Saraya. We've seen Edge come back from it. Austin, obviously, back in the day. And, we've had advancements in technologies. From what my understanding is that Big E had a bad one. And the fact that they're putting him on the TV gives me a glimmer of hope that he will come back one day, but it's not going to be till he's actually 100%. I think the WWE misses him a bit. I think, especially the New Day. The New Day has fallen off a bit. It's because they're just so much better as a threesome. They're just so much better. And Big E he's very much crucial to their presentation. Sarah, do you think the owners of the NFL influence who, where gets the push? I'm from Green Bay, and our situation makes it feel like we're unwanted stepchild. Absolutely. I mean, I've learned over the course of my life that there's always more than meets the eye. And when you're dealing with big dollars, when you're dealing with power players, when you're dealing with people of immense power, there's always something going on. It's never just what it is. There's always something going on. If they can put more money in their pockets, if they can make what they do the biggest thing in the history of whatever, they're going to do it. That's just the way it is. If you feel like an unwanted stepchild, it's probably because until you aren't, you are. You do have Jordan Love. I think he's someone that the NFL would get behind. Maybe he needs a little bit more seasoning. Maybe he just needs to, step up a little bit more. But you could see that they kind of, think about it. Think about Jordan Love, right? They wrote his ass off, midway through the season saying that he was a bust. And then later in the season, you think he's the second coming of Rodgers. That's just the way things are. You change the storyline. You course correct. Yes, you're such a young team. You guys are good. You guys are fine. You did more than okay. You did more than okay. But that's really all I got. I just wanted to come on here and say that, listen, saying the NFL is scripted is not a crazy statement. Whether Will was being comedic or sarcastic or not, whatever. But I think it's an interesting conversation to have because everyone talks about how it's scripted. And everyone kind of says that with, take it with the grain of salt, right? Take it with this, right? Bigger collab with Japanese wrestling. Let's look at Kairi Asuka. I don't know who. I mean, I'll pass. I like to. Collabs are great, but they need to have a purpose and a storyline. But anyway, you got Salty Fisherman. You're taking me off my game right here. I was closing up with great statements. Really, I think that Will's tweet made a lot of sense. It was obviously built out of frustration. Probably wanted a different outcome, didn't get it. But just like pro wrestling, that's what we're used to, man. You get your heart ripped out of your chest, but you just keep coming back for more. And that's the greatest thing about the sport we love. That's the greatest thing about the NFL. No matter what, no matter the controversy it brings, no matter all the mischief that goes down, it will always have your eyeballs on Sunday, on Thursday, on Monday. If they decide to run it 7 days a week, you'll watch it every damn day. Same thing with pro wrestling. Same thing with pro wrestling. And with that, I just want to sign off. Thank you for joining me on this Monday, middle of the day, for absolutely no reason other than I'm off and I got time to kill. My wife is out of the house. She thinks I'm being productive. She thinks that I'm doing things that I should be doing, like errands, but I'm not. I'm here just like a moron in the closet underneath the stairs, talking a little about pro wrestling, Travis Kelce's, Taylor Swift, all for you. And with that, thank you for joining. Later, Marks. And the